colonial masters, I mean, our independent fighters, still. So it's okay. We can go with it. Karibu sana. The entire team is here for Good Morning Kenya. My name is Victor Olo. It's a beautiful Wednesday. Actually, the last one for the month of July. Okay, a very quick one. So today, let's talk about the options available. A lot is happening, and beginning the month of August, that is the next couple of days, probably in the next 2 days or so, we'll be starting to count down officially to the next poll. That is August 9th, 10th, thereabout. And yes, as we discussed on Monday, the game is on. But today, I want us to talk about what are some of the options left for the politicians. What are some of the options left? We have got some of the key players in the political arena right now. President William Ruto seeking for a re-election, second term. We have got other opposition, that is united opposition, also angling for the same seat. So what are some of the options left? I want us to get down to that discussion. And you as the viewer, please tell me, who are some of these politicians who do you think should come together for a particular reason? What are some of the options? What does Matiang'i, what options does Matiang'i have? Maraga, talk about, the likes of Natembeya, Sifuna, President William Ruto, talk about the likes of Tangula, talk about the likes of Oparanya. The list continues, okay? What are some of the options available? 0707 30 32, did I get it right? 30 32 12. Yes, 0707 30 32 12. Send a message on WhatsApp, and we'll be reading them at the tail end of the program. Frank Nyamari, an advocate of the High Court, political analyst, will be here. Oscar Mondi, political analyst and also University Don, is also a political science university lecturer, will be here at 7. And Gibson Gesori, an advocate of the High Court, is also a political commentator. The three wise men watanisaidia kutatua hilo jambo. Sindio, Vivian? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Very good.
You said it very okay.
Ni kulijadili.
Kujadili.
Kutatua. What is the difference? Kutatua is solving.
To debate.
Discussing,
yes.
Endelea, kujadili.
Mjadala ambao upo leo. Yeah.
Join us at 7 so that we discuss that.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Vivian Ndegwa. Always a pleasure having you right here with us for this amazing and informative show that is Good Morning Kenya. Now, today we talk about service above self. And if there are people who do exactly that, it has to be our mothers. They give so much. And our conversation will be on safeguarding mothers to save the future. And I will be pleased, I will be rather joined by Elizabeth Wamwea. And Elizabeth is from the Mama na Mwana project, and he is the lead, Mama na Mwana project lead, St. John's Ambulance Kenya. Be sure to join us for that conversation, as it will be our Woman at the Forefront segment. Regina, good morning.
Good morning to you. I was watching you guys struggle with that Swahili beat, so I let you get at it. Yes. All right. Yes, that is one of those discussions where I am a quick observer with nothing more to add to that particular debate. Now, there's so much that is happening, especially where news is concerned. Now, just a quick outlook is that students could face higher varsity loans in plan. That is if Parliament approves President William Ruto's proposal in the new funding model. This particular daily that I'm having has that particular header that is under siege there, and we're talking about none other than the current Deputy President, Professor Kithure Kindiki. What is happening as far as governance and leadership is concerned? Matters Politics, Victor is going to be putting them into perspective as we proceed with Good Morning Kenya. That's just to highlight and tell you that Kenya is poised to host the 16th edition of the Magical Kenya Tourism Expo right here in Nairobi. Over 10,000 delegates from spread across the country are going to be attending this, and KBC Channel 1 is one of the media partners of this particular expo. Remember, Kenya has a target of hosting at least 5 million tourists by 2030. Is this the direction to take? Well, time will tell, and we are there to keep tabs on that. I'm Regina Manyara. You can be part of this conversation. Get us on X at KBC Channel 1. How about we start off with those stories that have been making headlines, and we'll talk about matters of hate speech, where former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and Cabinet Secretaries Aden Duale of Health and his public service counterpart Geoffrey Ruku are among high-profile figures under investigation for alleged incitement and hate speech. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission Chairperson Bishop Dr. Kefa Nyamoya has warned that the commission will not be intimidated from carrying out its mandate in accordance with the law.
As high-octane politics take off ahead of the 2027 general election, the National and Integration Commission (NCIC) has vowed to take tough action against those spewing hate and incitement to the public. The Commission's chairperson, Dr. Kefa Nyamoya, revealed that top political figures are already on their radar for alleged hate remarks.
His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, former Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Cabinet Secretary Honorable Aden Duale, Cabinet Secretary Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, His Excellency Paul Nyongesa Otoma, Governor Busia County, His Excellency Dr. Ali Maalim Mohamud, Deputy Governor Mandera County, Honorable John K. Waluke, MP, Sirisia, Honorable Wanjiku Muia, Honorable David Gikaria, Tipape Naini Musa, Dr. Dennis Edson Ouma.
We are witnessing a troubling rise in political intolerance. Language is increasingly used not to just disagree with an opponent, but to dehumanize them. Communities are being casted not as neighbors who hold different views, but as adversaries to be defeated by any means.
The Commission was, however, at pains to explain why the named persons, including Cabinet Secretaries, had not been summoned to record statements.
You don't go out there and begin to act on a TikTok clip which has been sent. I've said that before. We are an institution that believes in the due process. So until someone raises a formal complaint, especially from our people,
processes of charging people, the journey becomes very, very intense, because there are somebody will still need the director of public prosecution will need to have these files, and sometimes you have heard they clear some, and some of them are withheld.
NCIC vowed to stamp authority and crack down on hate mongers despite their ranks in society.
We do not na atuchipeani kwa pressure ya kwamba huyu akiitwa akija na mimi ndio nitakuja. Nafikiri hiyo ni mchezo kabisa. Hatuwezi tukaruhusu mchezo kama huu.
In the joint media briefing, Inter-Religious Council of Kenya condemned clerics who are allowing politicians to spew ethnic and divisive remarks in places of worship.
There is no religious coordinating body, or KCCB, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, or even the SUPKEM and NAMLEF, that allow politicians to come and play their dirty politics in the church. So the pastors that are allowing that, they are doing disservice to the members that sit in these congregations.
Giverson Maina, KBC, Channel 1.
Now, President William Ruto says his government is actively refining the university funding framework to guarantee full financial support for learners. The president, who met Kenyan learners who triumphed at the 2026 Global Huawei ICT competition, said the previous funding model was aimed at addressing the severe financial instability within the institutions of higher learning.
President William Ruto on Tuesday hosted Kenyan leaders who won the 2026 Global Huawei ICT competition at State House, Nairobi. It is here that he revisited the subject of Kenya's university funding model, Ruto said the previous proposal to overhaul the university funding structure was triggered by institutions failing to clear staff salaries and meet their financial obligations.
And I want to tell our Vice Chancellors we will be engaging them as we now progress to even a better funding model that will make sure that every student has full funding for their education.
I want to thank you for unlocking pathways for our young people. Your state visits to China unlocked some of these opportunities so that such programs can actually continue to thrive.
A number of Kenyan youths have become participants in, beneficiaries of, and contributors to China-Kenya cooperation. Many have also become important bridges of friendship between the two peoples.
I've also heard that they announced a big grant of $5 billion to the South-South countries in terms of to support AI training. And I'm hoping that Kenya will take the first step because we lead and others follow, so that we also lead in receiving the grant.
He further revealed that since the shift to the student-centered funding model earlier this month, it is already recording impressive milestones.
We have advertised for another 20,000 teachers to add on to the 100,000 that we have already hired. Why? Because education is central to us equipping our human capital with what it takes to make them the best qualified asset that we have as a nation.
Additionally, he stated plans are ongoing to have the Higher Education Loans Board framework revised to ensure 100% financial funding for all students admitted to universities and TVETs. He emphasized that education is the bedrock of transforming Kenya into a first world country.
I know many people are asking me, where are you going to find the money to fund these universities? And I want to tell them what was said before. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance, and you will know which one is more expensive.
In a lot of debate in regard to that proposal that is before Parliament now. Let's just give you a scope. Is that, for instance, if the tuition fee for our degree program costs around 300,000 annually, the current arrangement would see the government cover 200,000 through a scholarship, while the remaining 100,000 is financed through a student loan. Now, over the 4-year program, the student would accumulate a tuition loan of 400,000. Now, if the money is fully distributed or funded through the Universal Fund, that is UF, the student could also have another loan for upkeep to be offered under HELP. HELP, that is. Now, under the loan-heavy Universal Fund, is that the full cost, in as far as financing is concerned, will be borrowed. That means that they will get all the monies under UF, but then this particular student who is in this program will graduate with a loan of 1.2 million. And some of the critics who've come out and questioned at the rate of unemployment that is currently above 60% among the youth, actually 62% if my data serves me right, they still find it hard to get employment. But you graduate with a loan of 1.2 million that is supposed to be paid when you're done with your studies. How feasible is it? Remember, the bill seeks to have HELP, UF, and the technical and vocational education as well training fund board into a single tertiary education fund authority. We'll be keeping tabs on what comes out of the National Assembly. This particular bill is already before Parliament. We will see the direction that the legislators are going to be taking in regard to that matter. Now, Nairobi Regional Commissioner Rhoda Onyancha has warned a section of politicians mobilizing goons to cause chaos and loot property, saying their days are numbered. Speaking after inspecting several projects being implemented by the government, such as the ongoing construction of the Atlanta Stadium as well as the Bomas International Convention Complex, Onyancha said it will not be business as usual, calling on members of the political class to exercise restraint as the country heads to the polls. She, at the same time, revealed the ongoing projects will be completed before the end of the year that are already benefiting a total of 5,000 youths. Acting head of the government delivery unit, Orlando Sitati, who accompanied the RC, has in the meantime faulted those poking holes into government projects, saying the initiatives are meant to change the lives of Kenyans.
Overall, we have close to 5,000 youths that are involved in these 3 projects. On the completion of projects, each project has its own timeline. I think that you can get on the site, but I've said that each project is going to be finished on time. So even as we do things in this city or in this region, let us do knowing that we have a country, we have a region, and if you are a politician and you are going to get involved in mobilizing youths, because the youths that you are mobilizing are not going to deal with cows or goats. They are going to deal with other human beings also who have human rights. So the message we are giving to politicians is that we are not going to be soft on you. We will come hard.
Pia ni mradi ambao umepewa kipaumbele na afisi ya rais. Rais mwenyewe ametembea kwa hii miradi kila siku. Sisi tumekuja kufuatilia kama kuna changamoto hapa na pale, na ni kweli tuna furaha tele ya kwamba mradi wa Talanda unakamilika. Tumefikia sasa wakati tu wa kuleta shirika la mpira la kitaifa FIFA kufanya ukaguzi.
To the courts, the High Court has lifted the ban on shisha, declaring the continued enforcement of its prohibition unconstitutional. Justice Bahati Wamunya said the public health control of shisha smoking rules of 2017 had ceased to have effect after the government failed to regularize them within the period directed by the earlier court. Separately, rally driver Maxine Wahome has been acquitted of the murder of fellow rally driver Asad Khan, with the High Court finding that the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case for conviction. Details of this and other stories from the courts on Scales of Justice.
Following a nearly 3-year trial, the High Court acquitted rally driver Maxine Wahome of the murder of her late boyfriend Asad Khan, finding that the prosecution had failed to prove beyond any reasonable doubt her hand in his death.
Therefore, to prove the charge of murder, the prosecution is expected to prove the 3 elements beyond reasonable doubt. That is the fact of death, the death was caused by an unlawful act or omission, and the accused caused the voluntary unlawful act or omission, and it was of malice aforethought.
The case arose from Khan's death in December 2022 after he sustained injuries during a domestic altercation at their Nairobi apartment. Justice Lilian Nabuire Mutende reviewed testimonies from 29 prosecution witnesses.
We all say we are very grateful at the end of the day that the ends of justice were met. We are grateful that the court saw through the farce, through the evidence, and acquitted her with no case to answer.
Elsewhere, a probation officer at Kangema Locus in Murang'a County, Julius Irungu, pleaded not guilty to bribery claims. He was released on a bond of 800,000 Kenyan shillings. The prosecution has applied for summons to be issued against Senior Principal Magistrate Martin Mutegi, who has not turned up in court.
The prosecution has sought the issuance of summons. The request is granted. Accordingly, summons shall issue requiring the second accused, that is Martin Kinyua Mutegi, requiring the second accused to appear before this court on 30th July 2026.
And 3 FBI agents who are facing terrorism-related charges at the Kahawa Anti-Terrorism Court have been acquitted. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions withdrew the case, citing insufficient evidence to sustain the prosecution. The trio are Patrick Osoi, also known as the Sixth, Jackson Kuria, Elias Kopshakur, and Hiram Kimathi, all associated with the Fighting Brutality and Impunity movement.
The case has really affected our lives. We never lived normal life because you can imagine getting out there, myself traveling internationally, people looking at me as terrorist is not a simple thing.
Bruce Mayoyo, Good Morning Kenya.
Now, while making a part of her judgment there, the judge observed that Assad had a history of violence against women, and she rejected the prosecution's argument that Maxine inflicted the injuries while defending herself. So it means that Justice Mutende has ordered the immediate release of Maxine's passport and directed that the securities deposited by her mother be refunded. When they were asked at the courts to make a comment, well, her lawyer gave the infamous words. She will be speaking at the rally. See her at the rally. Well, that is from the courts. Now, parents and students affected by the controversial Finland and Canada overseas education program have renewed calls for refunds after a court cleared Uasin Gishu Senator Jackson Mandago in the criminal case. The ruling triggered protests in Eldoret, with demonstrators insisting they will continue pursuing compensation.
Traffic was temporarily disrupted in Eldoret town as parents and students who lost money in the Finland and Canada overseas education program took to the streets to protest a court ruling that terminated the criminal case against Uasin Gishu Senator Jackson Mandago. The Nakuru court acquitted Senator Mandago, bringing the criminal proceedings against the former Uasin Gishu governor to an end.
It is now 4 years. Na tumekuwa tukiongojea justice, tumeenda Nakuru. Juzi ruling yao wakasema hana hatia.
Juzi mimi nasikia hii koti amesema anaangusha kesi. Kitu iliniuma siku hiyo sikulala.
The decision sparked anger among affected families who say they had hoped the case would deliver justice after many sold land, homes and other property to finance the promised overseas studies.
Alienda akafanya, hata sikuwa na habari, akaniambia amefanya interview na amepita. Sasa ilibidi nitafute pesa, nilipe. Nikaja nikalipa pesa.
I remember a lot of students here had a lot of dreams to pursue overseas. They had seen a good life. They wanted to make and change the life of their home. But now, some of them are living in rentals. They have become squatters and they had a very good land.
The parents accused the government of failing to protect the victims and demanded that the money they paid into the program be refunded without further delay. They also questioned the handling of investigations into the matter and called for greater accountability over the missing funds. The demonstrators vowed to sustain their campaign for refunds, saying they will not relent until the government addresses their grievances and all affected parents recover their money. For Good Morning Kenya, I'm Jackie Wimbiru.
That particular story has found itself on the front page of this particular daily, with those pictures of agonizing parents and guardians who lost money in the overseas scholarship program run by Uasin Gishu County. As they continue agitating for compensation, or rather what they refer to as refunds, we'll be keeping tabs on that. Now, government is warning of possible food supply disruptions due to the projected El Nino rains expected from this October. Environment and Climate Change Principal Secretary Engineer Festus Ngeno says that should El Nino remains materialize as forecast, maize, wheat, barley, potatoes and horticultural crops could face lower productivity due to waterlogging, nutrient leaching and increased fungal diseases.
While rainfall is essential for agriculture, experts warn that excessive precipitation could significantly reduce crop yields through flooding, waterlogging, soil erosion, and disease outbreaks.
It's a 96% chance that we are going to have sustained rainfall or El Nino in the months of October, November, December, and even crossing over to January.
The counties of Uasin Gishu, Trans Nzoia, Nakuru, Narok, Elgeyo Marakwet and Baringo are projected to be adversely affected by the El Nino rains.
Rains came earlier than usual. It came in February. The farmers were not ready. So in March, when we went to meet the farmers, we were having a conversation whether they wanted to start plowing or they wanted to start planting. And that is why you'll be seeing that there is a challenge of the food security.
This has prompted the cabinet to activate a national El Nino contingency plan that includes farmer advisories, flood mitigation works, reinforcement of transport infrastructure, emergency resource pre-positioning, and coordinated disaster response. Farmers are being advised to adopt climate-smart agriculture, mechanization, enroll for warehouse receipt system and post-harvest management as part of broader efforts to build resilient food systems.
You can see 50% reduction in operational emission by 2030. That becomes a target that we are putting in this next cycle.
They were speaking during the release of the Absa Bank Kenya PLC 2025 Sustainability and Climate Report that highlighted initiatives around financial inclusion, enterprise growth, social development, and environmental sustainability.
Now, we expect that disruption in food supplies, and as such, farmers have been asked to make do with what they have ahead of the rains in October. There's also been a warning, those who are living around Lakes Bogoria, Naivasha, as well as Lake Victoria, to be on the lookout for rising lakes. Currently, this data indicates that the lakes are rising and extending at least 9 kilometers. So to be on the lookout. So how much does a phone call, or what kind of phone call from your parent get you doing, that is? So as we bring this to a close, we're just going to highlight sports there, where Edmund Serem's phone lit up in the dark in the warm-up track just moments before his race began, and it was a text from his father, and it read, "Go, my son, go for it, and I love you." Those 9 words from Mr. Joseph Serem would become the ultimate fuel for his son as he flew over the final water jump, leaving the world's best steeplechase runners behind him to claim a stunning gold at the Commonwealth Games that were held, that are currently ongoing. And this happened on Monday night, helping Kenya secure a historic podium sweep there. So that particular text that you have been holding back, either to your son, to your daughter, to your loved one, can really change their tide in as far as their history is concerned. So congratulations to the men and women who are representing Kenya in the Commonwealth Games. And talking about games, we know KBC is your true sports partner, and we have the 2026 Women Cup, Africa Cup of Nations matches that are being televised to you live from right here. Yesterday's results indicate that Zambia and Egypt were squaring it out, where Zambia thrashed Egypt 6-0. We also had Nigeria take on Malawi, with Malawi there having no regard for the reigning champions, that is, scoring 3 goals against Nigeria. That was yesterday. Today, we are looking at Ghana and Cape Verde squaring it out at 8 p.m., while Cameroon was going to be taking on Mali, coming on at 11 p.m. Remember, all this is being brought to you live on KBC Channel 1. That puts a cap on matters in the headlines. Be sure to peruse our website for further details. That is www.kbc.co.ke. I leave you in the capable hands of Victor to take you through the next conversation. I'm Regina Manyara. Have a good one.
Today, Tunapowasha vifaa vyetu, tunapata fursa ya kutangamana na wasikilizaji wetu.
Karibu sana thĩinĩ wa tabarĩra ya Rwiga.
Tunapeperusha utangazaji uliobobea katika habari,
nĩ ũndũ wa macio na mangĩ maingĩ,
burudani,
nĩ harĩa tũkoragwo tũkĩigua nyĩmbo mwaki nyĩmbo hota
na hamasisho la kiroho. Usiachwe nyuma. Jiunge nasi kwa safari ya kufana katika 99.5 FM. Shoro FM.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so it's 6 minutes past 7 a.m. Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 29th day of July 2026, and we are getting into this discussion very fast. But first of all, I'll take you through the front page of the local dailies as usual before we dive into the discussion. So my question of today, or my topic of discussion, is what are the options available and the strategies, okay? What are the strategies and what are the options available? That is my topic of discussion. As a Kenyan, what do you think are some of the options available as we head towards the 2027 general election? Because politicians are angling for different political seats. So what do you think are some of the options available, the strategies and the dynamics when it comes to the general election? Talk to us on 0707 30 32 12. 0707 303 212. That is our WhatsApp number, and it's also displayed right down there at the bottom of your screen. Send us a message. What do you think are some of the options available? The key dynamics, the strategies as we head to the last stretch of the general election that is next year in August. Okay. Oscar Mondi, who is a political analyst, he's also a university don, political science, is here with me. Frank Nyamari will be joining me shortly. He's an advocate of the High Court. He's also a political analyst, as well as Gibson Gesore, who is also an advocate and political commentator. We'll also be taking a look at some of the proposals being angled by the IEBC ahead of the 2027 general election. That is on the front page of the Star newspaper. IEB signals end to 2027 live poll result. That is on the front page. IEBC signals end to 2027 live poll result. There are a number of amendments and proposals by the IEBC. The story, agency cites need for orderly verification over proposed ban. And the story continues on the inner pages of the Star newspaper, which is actually will be forming part of our discussion this morning as we talk about the options available. IEBC push to end poll results live stream, and there are varied options and opinions while this is taking shape. Now, IEBC, according to the Star, has actually highlighted some of the proposals. One of them is to live stream of results scrapped. That is IEBC under no obligation to live stream results. According to them, there is electronic system retained where KIMS remains part of the election system. Another one is result management rules has also been changed that deletes key provisions governing presidential results verification. The 2/3 gender rule and the parties to announce no more than 2/3 of nominees candidates are of one gender. And also there is a recall clause for the members of parliament where now the before I get to that, the gender balanced party list will now be fully under IBC. Special seat list would alternate between women and men, starting with a woman, okay? And recall clause rules also toughened a little bit. Recall of MPs petitions signed by at least 30% of registered voters. And MCAs right now will have a little bit of some hard time because the petition appeals cut, no second appeal to the Court of Appeal. The High Court would be final. If you lose your petition at the High Court, that would be it. Then the next one is forensic election evidence, where now court could actually require forensic images of election servers and memory cards. And finally, amongst other changes proposed by the IBC, is that voter register review changed, that fresh voter registration review every 8 to 12 years after boundary review. Okay, so I'll be taking you through that one by one because it's more detailed here. And IBC is also talking about that with that, there'll be no live streaming in 2027, but this is a case you know, Parliament will also take part in this proposed amendment. Let me take you through the front page of the Daily Nation. The Daily Nation talks about, oh, okay, all right, good. Under siege, and the gentleman on the front page is the Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki. Under siege, all right? And the Daily Nation reports that a fallout with President Ruto triggered Rigathi Gachagwa's ouster as Deputy President. After 2 years, his successor Kithure Kindiki also finds himself in a precarious position nearly 2 years into his tenure, albeit for different reasons. While the loyalty of the man who once served as Ruto's lawyer is unquestionable, recent political developments, including ODM's demands, are raising the question: is his position as the president's running mate in next year's election secure? That is a question asked by the Daily Nation. So for ODM, is it a non-negotiable position? ODM says that the running mate position is its irreducible minimum. That is what I have. And some good news for the media outlet in Uganda, which was closed after 1 month. Now, Nation Media Group's Uganda outlets reopen after state shut down for 1 month. Regina talked about the students face higher varsity loans in plan. All right, I will take a look at that later on. But on the front page of the Standard, it's more or less the same thing with the Daily Nation. I think you can take it side by side. The Daily Nation talks about poisoned chalice. That is what I have. And the Standard talks about, yes, poisoned chalice. That is with regards to Deputy President Kithure Kindiki's position. And the Standard reports that the office is only a heartbeat away from the house on the hill. Yet, it has become Kenya's most dangerous political seat as power slowly slips from Deputy President Kithure Kindiki's grasp, and speculation over his future gathers pace. Despite his repeated denials, the familiar script of isolation, humiliation, and possible political extinction appears to be unfolding once again. Oscar? History is replete with such kind of cases, from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and Mwai Kibaki to Professor George Saitoti. William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua, the country's second in command, has repeatedly discovered that proximity to power offers no guarantee to security. The harsh reality Kindiki may yet confront is that denial has never slowed or stopped the political downfall of deputies who failed to read the signs. Oscar Mondi, political analyst and also University Don, lecturer of political science. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How have you been?
Great.
Thank you.
Front pages of the local dailies. Heavy matters to discuss in midweek.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's start with the front page of the Star that you have there.
Of the Star.
The Star talks about the proposals by the IBC.
Signal, the live streaming thing.
Yes.
I think this is right. I think this is okay. if you talk about live streaming, and I've always said it here, that according to Maina Kiai 2013 case of the High Court, which was taken all the way to Supreme Court, that case made it sure that elections should end at polling stations. So what the IBC is saying, that the documents that we will have, the primary documents that we have at the polling stations, are the documents that will be used. There are even proposals, people have even proposed, and I think I've also said about it, that we don't need the Boma Sterling Center. If elections end at the polling station, because the problem normally is at the Boma Center, comes from the live streaming and the interference of the election results, is because of, like, for example, you remember, in the olden days, we used to have this carrying of ballots and carrying of results from point A to point B. This was repealed by the Maina Kiai case in 2013.
Yes.
So live streaming is just digitally carrying the results again. That's what they're saying. That live streaming is digitally carrying the results. Right? So when the elections end and we have the primary document, I think it is Form 34B, then Form 34B is used as the only document to announce the result of an election. But if it is streamed, it is subject to interference. I think that is what the justification. I have to probably get to know the exact reasons why they want the live streaming done. But for me, in my take, is that. But from what I've read in the media, is that there's speculations at all this. But the thing is that the reason why they might want to stop the live streaming, first of all, is technological. It's just, the technology remains that these documents will still be sent on technology. The live document, the Form 34B will still be sent, but now the live streaming will not be allowed. Yes.
Okay.
Subject to interference. You know, again, as much as we want to be open on some of these things, I'm worried that probably we might set up the country, and the media also can be used to declare elections of somebody who has not won elections. It can raise it to the IBC have their election results, but what about if the media announces somebody else? Or AI announces somebody else? Or technology announces somebody else? From the person that IBC got the results, before the IBC announces. So already you set up the country. Already you've set up the country, and whatever led even to the 2007 election, you remember, what the media was saying and what IBC was saying were completely different. And now the country went into flames before even the results were announced. When the results were announced now, it all broke loose. Because the IBC had a completely different results from the results of the media. But most of the times, when the media doesn't have probably the capacity to collect everything. And sometimes they rely on the live streaming, but live streaming is subject to interference.
Yes.
So probably that is the fear. Yeah, I'm not very sure.
My question is, we are advancing, and when you look at our electoral cycle, the issue of trust and having faith in the IBC, one of them was to live stream the presidential results at the Bomas of Kenya. All right? Why have several steps back, and yet you are striving to make several of them, you know, ahead of us? Because live streaming was a matter of giving more trust to the electoral body.
Yeah, but it's subject to interference.
Of what?
Oh, this is technology. You know what happens sometimes? Systems get down. Right? And the IBC have a justification of why. Because they know it's an institution. As much as we in this space might look at it as the right thing, but IBC have a justification that this is, they probably know that they cannot secure it. And now they're saying the best thing is, do away with it, let's rely on the primary document. Yes. The primary document is from 34B. That comes, which is signed by the agents. Live streaming is signed by who?
Okay, so how would it interfere with the general election, with the presidential results? Live streaming?
Live streaming?
Yes.
You know, let me tell you, if you're doing research, I'll always tell you in a research class that always go to the primary document, the primary data. if you're not sure, just get back to the primary data or the primary document. When you go to archives, look at archives, the primary document, and quote the primary document. Because secondary data can be subject to interference. Secondary data can be subject to interference.
Yes.
What I'm saying here is that live streaming, although it comes from, generated from the primary data, but technology cannot cure our problem. Even Kriegler said that human beings manage those systems. As much as we think technology will solve our problem, we must also know that there are human beings that are managing those systems. Yeah. So technology alone might not be able to solve our problem. Technology alone might not be able to solve our trust. And you know, in contemporary today about AI, that even today, you see rallies. People say that they had thousands of people in the rallies. Then tomorrow you're told it was AI. Technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know very well that technology, people have been bombed. And when you say what happened, and somebody sent a drone and bombed people, then they bombed a church, and they say collateral damage. Technology. So technology can be very good to us. But if not well managed, it can also be a disaster.
Okay. Frank Nyamari, an advocate of the High Court, joining us on set. Frank, good morning.
Good morning.
You're well?
I'm well.
Oscar is saying that there is no problem with IBC scrapping the live streaming. Your take on that?
Victor, the Constitution is clear under Article 86 on how voting should be done. And actually, Article 86 gives IEBC the mandate to ensure that whatever voting method that is used, that system is simple, it is accurate, it's verifiable, it is secure, it's accountable and transparent. Further, Article 86 says that the results from the polling stations are openly and accurately collated, promptly announced and by the returning officer. Appropriate structures and the mechanisms to eliminate electoral malpractice are put in place. That is a preserve of IEBC.
Yes.
What we need to understand, one, is that the IEBC is empowered to ensure that voting is transparent. The same Constitution gives Kenyans the right to information. And that's why we have the media. So we cannot downplay the role that IEBC will have to play as far as information to Kenyans is concerned.
And transparency is concerned?
Transparency is also concerned. But then what we need to be very careful in determining is how transparent are the results from the polling station to the National Tallying Center. That is the question that we are addressing this morning. So we ask ourselves then, what should the IEBC do in ensuring that the votes at the polling station are the same results that are brought to the National Tallying Center, and they are the same result that is broadcasted for every Kenyan to be able to do what? To see, to ensure transparency. And that was the question Justice Smokin Wanjala was asking in the 2017 Raila Odinga case.
Yes.
That how different is the result at the polling station and the result at the National Tallying Center? Like what happened in between the air? That was the transmission bit. Yeah? What happened in between the air that we now have different sets of results? So that is where the technology kicks in.
Yes.
That how sufficient is our technology? How reliable is our technology? How sufficient can we trust our media houses to give us an honest, accurate information that Kenyans can actually rely on?
Yes.
The media is not trying to take away the responsibilities of IEBC. The media is there as an eye for all Kenyans, based on the right to information. So we have key players as far as an election system is concerned. The key player is IEBC, the security agencies, the media. So the question is, how do these three people come into place to ensure that whatever we are finding is actually reliable to the common mwananchi for him to be able to make a decision?
Good question. You raised two important points. One, there is that aspect of transparency.
Yes.
Under the law, and right to information,
yes,
which is in the Constitution.
Yes.
But IEBC is also saying that they are not propelled or compelled actually to live stream. So there's a conflict.
So, okay, now give us.
Now which overrides?
Now give us what will ensure that that result is transparent.
And that's what I was saying.
Give us that which says that whatever system that you're going to use is going to be transparent. Because Kenyans have a right to see, to get information, to know what is happening. Yes. So the question is, how reliable, how sufficient is whichever method that IBC is going to put in place? How is it going to be reliable to help the common person as far as this constitution is concerned?
I'll give you an example, Victor. Sorry for it, very bad. I'll give you an example, Victor. When we had the 2013, was it 2013 or 2017? 2017 elections. I think I remember Otiende Amolo giving a submission in Supreme Court and trying to explain that there was an algorithm that interfered with the live streaming thing. That it remained at 54%. The difference was always 54.
It was a constant.
A constant algorithm that was manipulating this data because of the live streaming.
And in the 2022 election, we had Camargo.
We had Camargo inside the live streaming. And in 2022, is it when was it? I think Isaac Hassan, in 2013, we had a situation where an algorithm put more spoiled votes than the vote cast. You remember those questions?
Yes.
Yes, there were too many spoiled votes that like stopped this thing. And even you remember in America when Trump says, stop the count. Because of what? Because there's an algorithm. So IBC saying we can't deal with it. And that's what they're saying. Let's go to the primary data. The primary data is Form 34B. So the question, what my colleague is talking about here, how do we make sure that Form 34B from the polling station gets to
the National Tallying Center?
Yes. And but live streaming, who does it? The question is, live streaming, who does it?
Yeah. And that's the question is, so what are the options? Because that's another thing. Wakili is also saying, give us an option.
Yes.
You know,
they're saying here, if you read whatever they're proposing, that we are not abandoning technology. We are only doing away with live streaming, which I've given you examples in 3 consecutive elections, what has happened to the live streaming. So they're not abandoning the technology. The Form 34B will still be transmitted to the National Tallying Center, probably through, now,
my question is this, Victor.
Yes.
You see, the media is going to go to the polling station or the National Tallying Center with a camera. They are not going to interfere with the county. They are not going to interfere with whatever results that is at the National Tallying Center. They are only going to mulika. So what IBC is saying is wrong, based on the right to information to Kenyans. Because every Kenyan is not at the National Tallying Center. Every Kenyan is entitled to check and see what is happening at the National Tallying Center.
But they're saying you can download this document. The documents will be uploaded.
How many people are tech savvy?
The documents will be uploaded.
Oscar, how many people are tech savvy? Because remember, there are people who actually, during elections, you know how intense it can get.
Yes.
Everything stops and all eyeballs are on the television.
No, but we've told you what the problem has been. Can you solve the problem?
Okay, the question is it about the live streaming?
It's upon IBC, upon KBC, for example, to download these documents and tally and probably propagate based on whatever they get. Yeah, download the primary document. Because I
differ because media houses do not have the mandate to tally. They don't have the mandate to count. They don't have the mandate to announce.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I also agree with that. But now you are asking, where will people get information?
That's the question.
Where we get information is on technology. But the primary data, if you have an MCA in the village who was running in that election, you can always tell him if you want, because that primary data is already uploaded.
Okay, this is what happens.
But the work of the media is not to tally.
No, I'm not saying the media.
Oscar.
Even you who is running.
My question
who is running, you can always download those things and know that actually the primary data says this.
Oscar.
Because you're saying, Smoking Wanjala was asking, what was the difference between the tally, the document at the polling station
and the polling, the document at the tallying center.
All of us can know when this document are uploaded.
Okay.
So the question is, what is the preserve of the media houses as far as that transmission is concerned? It is not the media houses to go and transmit.
What I'm saying,
what we are saying is
the live streamed results are not even verified results.
What do you mean? Listen, let's take an example.
And you cannot, they're provisional results.
Just a minute. Let's take an example. Yes. We are all here. Yeah. People are watching us from the other side of the world, okay? Yes. Whatever is happening between here and the camera is beyond us.
Yes, that's true.
Okay?
True.
The technology and the internet is beyond us. What we're doing here is what they are seeing.
Yes, yes.
It's the same thing as what the media will be streaming from the National Tallying Center is not the work of the media to verify. Yes. Ours is to verify because the technology belongs to the IEBC.
And the media has been streaming
so
the
if the system is subject to manipulation or the algorithm playing its tricks on there, that is not the problem of the media.
Yes, yes.
So it is the work of the IEBC to make sure that the system is tamper-proof.
Yes. And they're saying that we've tried all means possible, and in the 3 consecutive elections, they're trying to cure the problems.
Okay, let's take a break. Let's take a break. Let's take a break. I need to refill your cup. Stay with us.
Get ready for a captivating continental football extravaganza. KBC Channel 1 brings you exclusive coverage of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. From Sunday the 26th of July to Sunday the 16th of August 2026. Welcome to Morocco! Morocco is the battleground as Nigeria defend their title against 15 other nations fighting to lift the prestigious trophy. Who will be crowned Queens of African Football? Courtesy of the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Watch all the action unraveling on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.